Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another day of biology. This is Mr. Olson. I know you guys can't see me today. I'm up at the smart board and the camera angles just didn't look good. So we're just going to do it this way. You guys got my voice. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about types of selection. So first and foremost, we've talked about natural selection already, but we're going to start graphing some things and kind of explaining what this would look like. So first one is just your standard graph. It's your standard bell-shaped idea. So with no selective pressures are present, we see a bell-shaped curve for traits. However, when natural selection pressures act on a trait, this distribution can be altered. I apologize for my words, guys. Realistically, what this is saying is we have an extreme over here, we have an extreme over here, but we also have a middle, okay? So very, very similar to how, say, our human population is with like height. Over here, we'd be like the shortest of the short. Over here, be like the tallest of the tall. But for most of us, we kind of fit in this area, that average point. This gives us our general bell shape curve. Now, what we're going to get to today is going to be three different scenarios where we're actually going to see an effect in this distribution. So scenario number one is called stabilizing selection. What this means, this is where the selective pressures select against the two extremes of a trait. The population experiences stabilizing selection. So our little example on the side, it says a plant that is too short may not be able to compete with other plants for sunlight. However, extremely tall plants may be more susceptible to wind damage. So if we look at this again, that means too short dies. This also means extremely tall plants die. So we get rid of those two sections and we increase our middle. Okay, so in our case here, the perfect height for these plants is going to be that average height. They're able to get the sunlight and they are still strong enough to withstand the winds. That is number one, that is stabilizing. Let me erase this quick. Number two is directional. So this is where one extreme of the trait distribution experiences selection against it. So the result is that the population trait distribution is going to shift towards the other extreme. So in the example we have here, we are shifting towards the right, but it could also shift towards the left if it also shifted that way. Okay, so it's not always to the right. Remember, it can go both ways. So our example over to the right side says, using the familiar example of giraffe necks, there was a selective pressure against short necks, since individuals with short necks could not reach as many leaves on which to feed. As a result, the distribution of long necks shifted to favor individuals with long necks. So our, where was I? Short neck giraffes were not able to get food, but our long necks were able to get food, so we saw the population shift over to the right. Okay, this is directional. So they were favoring the one extreme. In our case, the extreme was the long necks. And the last one, numero three. This one's going to be called disruptive selection. So in a disruptive selection, selection pressures act against individuals in the middle of the trait distribution. So they favor both extremes. They favor this side, they favor this side, but they do not favor the middle one. Okay. So on this side, it says, for example, imagine a plant of extremely variable height that is pollinated by three different pollinators. One that was attracted to short plants, another that preferred plants of medium height, and a third that visited only the tallest plants. If the pollinator that preferred plants of medium height disappeared from an area, medium height plants would not be selected against, and the population would tend towards both short and tall, but not medium height plants. So, meaning that the medium height plants aren't getting pollinated, which means they're going to end up dying, but the short and tall are still getting pollinated. Hence why we see this disruptive selection. Okay, that median area, that middle area is going to get pushed down. Now let's do a couple examples. I have three examples, guys, we're going to go through. Example number one says, if thick-shelled oysters are tougher to crack open, than thinner-shelled oysters, crabs will be less able to prey upon them, and thick-shelled oysters will be more likely to survive and reproduce. Now, a couple things we can do here. We understand that we have thick-shelled oysters. Correct. Okay, they are tougher. Perfect. So probably means they are going to survive. Now, we also have thinner-shelled oysters, and it says than, so we know that thinner-shelled oysters are going to be weaker. We also understand that crabs are going to prey on them. So we're going to actually see more likeliness of thick-shelled survival. So if we put this into graph form, we're going to get something like this. Oh, why did that? There we go. So say if our normal graph, guys, remember I'm not an artist, is going to look something like this. Okay, that perfect little bell shape. This is not going to be the case anymore. So we had our thinner shelled and we had our really thick shelled. We have to understand that thick shelled is going to benefit, meaning that we're going to get rid of those thin shelled. So my red line's actually going to be the new chart. So it's going to probably look something like this. And I know that's a little bit wide, but it's going to look something like that. Guys, what type of selection is this? If your answer was directional, you are correct. We shifted to the right. Okay, directional. Good job. Oh, missed that part. Now the second example says, light-colored crayfish are hard for a predator to see because they match the rock color. Dark-colored crayfish blend into the shadows cast by the rocks. So that means our intermediate, our in-between color would be the most heavily preyed upon. So light-colored are good. It says also dark-colored are good. But the one that says it is a problem is our intermediate colors. So those ones are going to be heavily preyed upon. Meaning that our middle is going to be the part that gets affected. You guys know how to draw this graph, so let's do it. So once again, let's get our normal graph in here. That's not perfect by any means, but it's good enough for today. Okay, normal graph. Now we understand that we are getting rid of that intermediate stage. So that middle ground is not good. So we know we're going to have two different extremes. This is going to give us this and something like that. Okay, what type of graph is this showing? If you said disruptive, you are correct. Okay, disruptive does not favor the middle. It favors the two extremes. So it favors this side, but not there. Okay, good job. We got one more, guys. One more. What the heck? Here we go. And the last one. Example number 3. It says, in a species of bird, males with really colorful feathers attract females, and really dull coloration helps the males camouflage from predators. Males with medium coloration aren't selected for by females. So, we know that really colorful is doing well. We also know that really dull is also doing well. But once again, we know that this medium coloration is not doing so hot. Okay, and if you're not breeding, it means you're probably not doing something right. Okay, so let's draw this graph. Remember, we are selecting or we are choosing the dullest, and we're also choosing the brightest. That middle section is not the good section. Let's put our normal line back in. Oh, that's really bad. I can't even like that one, guys. So let me put a new one in here. There we go. Okay, so we're not going to favor our middle, which means our graph, once again, is going to look like this. Perfect. Okay, we do not favor the middle, but we favor the two extremes. Perfect. Those are your examples. Guys, in class today, they're going to talk about a couple more things. If you're at home you're not sure what this graph is showing you, or you don't know what they look like, please reach out. Please ask one of your teachers. I highly recommend that you put these images into your notebooks. Okay. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. If not, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.